Is it time for American businesses to start thinking seriously about a 4-day work week? A New Zealand company recently had an 8-week experiment in which they eliminated one workday each week for their employees. The results were overwhelmingly positive. So this company is called Perpetual Guardian. They manage trusts and wills, had its 240 employees work 4 days a week, but they still paid them as if they were working the full 5 days. Staff engagement increased 24%. The staff, they say, was more creative. They had fewer sick days, they were more punctual, and they finished work early less often, which that part I didn't understand. They were working maybe a little bit later. They spent less time in meetings, less time on social media, and it sounds to me like a lot of what they were doing was just being more engaged by being there one less day a week. And probably wouldn't work in all industries, sure. But in this one, it kind of makes sense.
So it was interesting because apparently the CEO of this company in New Zealand was inspired by an anecdote or data point from Britain that the average worker is really only productive for 2.5 hours each day. So he felt that if I could just have a shorter work week when people were there, they'd be engaged and they'd be much more productive. And it sounds like it actually paid off and really improved morale as well. So
they're now trying this at hospitals. They're only going to be open 4 days a week. My point is, some industries this just wouldn't work, but in companies where it's about getting the work done, not so much when, because some companies you have to be open 7 days a week, some companies you have to be open all night long, but in a case like this where it sounds like the work is a little bit flexible.
I know they did it here in LA, somebody that worked for the county that was involved with management of county parks, I think was the job, and they decided to do this 4-day work week, and they were thrilled.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think getting back to the social media element, on an average 8-hour day, if they're only working 2.5 hours, which I'm sure there are some people who would acknowledge that that may be the amount of time they're productive, well, it would be easy to get distracted by social media and other things that do not increase your productivity. And I'll tell you, the other thing is, if this is a company that's hiring, what a selling point. You're trying to hire someone to bring onto staff, and it's, oh, well, we're only gonna make you work 4 days a week as opposed to our competitor. Sign me up.
They're paying you for 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some businesses where you work 4, but they're only paying you for 4 to save money.
I think you're right, and I think to your point, it's very well taken. So you're not going to love it if the emergency room is only open 4 days a week. So there are certain industries, certainly healthcare, certainly things that cannot wait, that would have to be open, but maybe in that
TV talk shows.
Oh, but I was going to say, in that situation, maybe then you could implement more of a shift basis, right? Where if something has to be open that many days a week, some people work this many 4 days, this next shift is the sequential 4. Well, because I think the truth is, in the United States, we're really sorely lagging behind the rest of the world when it comes to paid leave. And that comes out in so many ways in terms of maternal and paternal leave, that we just don't take enough time off.
Vacations. Yeah. I think in Europe they use this model. Well, they got the idea from England, but I think in Europe that some places, but we can't do that because we have to host a show every day.
I like it when companies are bold and they strive to be a little bit different. So I'm actually just letting you know that I'm moving to New Zealand. I'll be there soon.